Ford Edsaw.
What happens when a major company goes all in on a single car and it crashes harder than any of them could have imagined? In 1957, Ford unleashed the Edsaw, a car designed to redefine the automotive industry. But instead of becoming the next big thing, it became one of the most notorious flops in history, costing Ford a staggering $400 million. That's over $4 billion today when adjusted for inflation. Despite a massive marketing campaign, the Edsaw was met with cold shoulders. It was awkwardly styled, overpriced, and, to make matters worse, launched during a recession. Ford had invested everything in this car, only to see it sink the company's reputation.
The Edsaw's failure didn't just hurt Ford financially, it affected the company's image for decades. Ford's gamble on the Edsaw not only led to massive losses, but also sent shockwaves through the industry, leaving Ford scrambling to regain its confidence. This single model caused Ford to rethink its approach, but the damage was done. The brand's reputation never fully recovered, and the Edsaw's demise marked the beginning of a series of painful strategic missteps that Ford would struggle with for years.
The Edsaw teaches a critical lesson. Before launching a game-changing product, make sure it's what your customers actually want. Innovative ideas are great, but they can't substitute for market research and consumer understanding. No matter how great the vision, if the audience doesn't buy in, it won't work.
The Edsaw's infamous grille, often called a horse color, became a symbol of automotive failure, forever cementing the model in history. It's ironic that such a bold vision was completely derailed by something as simple as aesthetics.
Delorean DMC12. When you think of the DeLorean, you probably picture time travel. But what if I told you that this car's most unforgettable legacy was about the scandal that torched its future? The DeLorean DMC12, with its iconic gull-wing doors and futuristic design, could have been the car of the century. But behind the shiny exterior, DeLorean Motor Company was sinking under the weight of poor management and financial mismanagement. The brand's fall was made worse when John DeLorean, the company's founder, was arrested in a sting operation involving drugs, an attempt to save the failing company. Within just 2 years of production, the company went bankrupt, leaving only 9,000 cars and a tarnished reputation behind.
Despite being a stunning design, the DeLorean was a financial disaster. It cost too much to make, had quality control issues, and failed to generate the buzz needed to succeed in a competitive market. And once the scandal broke, any chance of a comeback evaporated. The brand's downfall marked the end of an ambitious idea, and the car itself became a cautionary tale about the dangers of taking shortcuts in both business and reputation management.
Trust in your brand is everything. The DeLorean disaster shows us that reputation is fragile, and even a single bad decision can destroy years of work. You can't afford to compromise on your brand's integrity, especially when times get tough. Interestingly, the DeLorean DMC12 has since gained a cult following, largely due to its role in the Back to the Future franchise, cementing the car's status as a symbol of what could have been.
AMC Pacer.
Imagine a car that looked like something out of the future, but ended up more like a fishbowl on wheels. That's the AMC Pacer in a nutshell. Launched in 1975, the AMC Pacer was meant to revolutionize the small car market, but instead it became an automotive joke. Designed with large windows and a distinctive bubble shape, it was intended to be futuristic and innovative, but the Pacer was anything but practical. The car's awkward design made it less aerodynamic and more of a rolling eyesore. Sales plummeted, and AMC lost millions of dollars.
The Pacer's failure didn't just hurt AMC's profits.
It accelerated the company's decline, eventually leading to its purchase by Chrysler. The Pacer is a perfect example of how a bold design that strays too far from the practical can lead to failure. Despite its unique look, it failed to resonate with car buyers, and AMC's larger ambitions crumbled under its weight.
Design is essential, but it needs to meet functional needs, not just aesthetic goals. If you miss the mark on practicality, no amount of innovation will save you. Buyers were often joked about needing sunscreen to avoid burning inside the car due to its large, unshielded windows, a symbol of how the Pacer was more about style than function.
Pontiac Aztec.
Imagine driving down the road and being stared at for all the wrong reasons. That's the Pontiac Aztec, a car so infamous it was called the ugliest car ever made. When Pontiac launched the Aztec in 2000, they aimed for a vehicle that could offer versatility and appeal to a new generation of buyers. What they got was a combination of weird design, poor execution, and public ridicule. The car's styling was polarizing, to say the least, and it failed to capture the market it was designed for. What followed was a slow death for Pontiac, culminating in the brand's closure in 2010.
The Aztec's failure wasn't just about its design flaws. It represented a bigger failure in brand direction. Pontiac, a brand once known for sporty cars like the Firebird, was now seen as out of touch. The Aztec's misstep marked the beginning of the end for the brand, as buyers looked elsewhere for something fresh. First impressions matter. A product's design is often the first thing that shapes a customer's perception, and if it doesn't resonate, it can send your entire brand into a downward spiral.
In an ironic twist, the Aztec found a new kind of fame when it became Walter White's car in Breaking Bad, but by then it was far too late to save Pontiac. Fisker Karma.
Imagine creating the world's most eco-friendly luxury car, only for it to burst into flames. The Fisker Karma was a plug-in hybrid that promised to be the future of eco-luxury. It was sleek, it was innovative, and it had celebrity endorsements to boot. However, technical problems and reliability issues quickly surfaced. One of the most glaring problems was that the car was prone to catching fire, an issue that led to several recalls and halted production. The company's financial struggles ultimately forced Fisker Automotive into bankruptcy. Fisker's grand vision of combining luxury and sustainability fell apart due to poor manufacturing and quality control. The fires weren't just a PR disaster. They killed any chance the Karma had of gaining traction in the market. Fisker's failure to adapt and correct its course quickly left the company on the brink of collapse.
Innovation needs to be balanced with reliability. While trying to be the next big thing, don't forget that functional quality is non-negotiable. Without it, even the most impressive ideas can burn out. Even with celebrity backing like Leonardo DiCaprio, the Karma couldn't escape its fate. The lesson? Fame doesn't cover up poor execution.
Bricklin SV1.
This car was supposed to be a safer sports car, but it ended up being a financial disaster instead. The Bricklin SV1, released in 1974, was marketed as the safest sports car in the world, featuring advanced safety features like a plastic body and a roll bar. But its futuristic design and ambitious production goals quickly unraveled. The car's production was plagued with quality issues, and the company couldn't keep up with rising costs. The Bricklin brand was quickly folded after only a few years, making the SV1 one of the shortest-lived sports cars in history.
Despite being hailed as a technological marvel, the SV1 was too costly to make and too unreliable to sell. Bricklin's failure to properly manage the logistics and financials led to its bankruptcy.
The SV1 remains a symbol of how good intentions without solid planning and execution can quickly turn into a financial disaster. Innovation is important, but without strong financial planning and quality control, even the best ideas can falter. Always ensure your foundation is solid before attempting something ambitious. Interestingly, Malcolm Bricklin later introduced the Yugo to the U.S., a car even more infamous for its failure than the SV1.
Tucker 48.
What if you had an idea that could change the world, only to have everything collapse because the world wasn't ready for it? The Tucker 48, often called the Tucker Torpedo, was an innovative car in every sense of the word. With features like a pop-out windshield and a rear engine, it seemed to be the future of automobiles. However, Preston Tucker's bold vision was met with resistance from the established automotive industry. The company was subjected to investigations, and Tucker himself faced legal challenges. The car was never mass-produced, and the company went bankrupt despite the excitement it generated.
Tucker's failure wasn't due to lack of innovation, but rather due to fierce opposition from bigger automotive companies and accusations of fraud. This ultimately crushed what could have been a revolutionary moment in automotive history.
Innovation requires more than just a good idea. It needs the right timing, industry support, and the resilience to weather outside pressure. Don't underestimate the power of external factors when launching something new. The story of Preston Tucker and his car became so legendary that it was later immortalized in the 1988 film Tucker, the Man and His Dream, starring Jeff Bridges. Innovation requires more than just a good idea. It needs the right timing, industry support, and the resilience to weather outside pressure. Don't underestimate the power of external factors when launching something new. The story of Preston Tucker and his car became so legendary that it was later immortalized in the 1988 film Tucker, the Man and His Dream, starring Jeff Bridges.
Each of these cars didn't just fail. They destroyed entire companies and changed the course of automotive history. Curious to see what other disasters are waiting to unfold in the world of cars? Stick around for our next deep dive.